we got another one of them. Popping at the mouth or the side of his neck when he pouts, no argument, no rebuttal from. He ain't from my town, I don't know him, so I'm guessing he's a clown.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we'll be talking about Toni Storm and her OnlyFans account, the simp economy, and all things that are surrounding this subject, including, but especially, the hypocrisy. I don't really like calling people hypocrites because it won't change their opinion, but I feel like we do need to talk about the hypocrisy. So, on March the 19th, Toni Storm opened up her OnlyFans account. She is charging $19.99 per month. She already has over 1,000 subs, which would be about $20,000. And last time I checked, it was at $26,000, almost $30,000. So business is booming. Now, a lot of you, if you've been hanging around long enough to when I used to talk about Toni Storm on This Here Wrestling, I used to call her the cherry lip paw goddess because I knew she was worth something. All right. I was the one who said she was marketable. She's a star. Why would they not push her to the moon? She should be perfect. And I am 100% okay with her having an OnlyFans account, believe it or not. I'm not against OnlyFans. I'm not against porn. I'm not against video vixens, ring card girls, or anybody who wants to sell their image or likeness for money. If that's what you want to do, I am an unabashed, shameless capitalist. You're not robbing anybody. You're not stealing from anybody. You're not, a simp and his money shall soon be parted. But that is my problem, right? The simp economy is an issue. It is a problem. But it is not the biggest problem that we have here. The biggest problem that we have here is the hypocrisy of it all. How we, for the last several years, had to deal with people talking about how terrible the Divas era was. How embarrassing it was that they were doing lingerie pillow fights and girls were in Playboy. How could you do that? That was so embarrassing to young women. And the same people are today worshiping at the altar of Toni Storm because she started a fucking OnlyFans account. That's the shit that pissed me off. Not the fact that Toni Storm quit wrestling to do OnlyFans. It's only temporary anyway. And then guess what? Most of these women have OnlyFans accounts. A lot of them do. Or they're selling pictures or whatever else through their website. I mean, you can't. Almost all of them are doing it. And as far as women who are in wrestling, that's what they do. They get on wrestling, they get on TV, and then they start an OnlyFans account. And they start selling feet pics and all that other kind of stuff. That's what they do. But here's my thing in specific to Toni Storm and some others like her. Toni Storm already got news out there, baby. And there's already Toni Storm news out there with her fingering herself, her topless, everything. And as far as we know, this OnlyFans is not going to be nudity. So she's going to be showing some pretty cute t-shirt pics and bikini pics and that kind of stuff. If you want to see her titties, they are out there. You want to see her rubbing her pussy, it's out there. All right? You don't have to pay for this shit. But I'm not knocking her hustle. There's a simp and his money will soon be parted. That's what they do. They spend cash. It's what they do. Toni she's just making a product available that people wanted to pay for. And guess what? She is more than likely going to make more money maybe in the short term than she probably would have been in WWE. Now that brings me to the first things that I wanted to discuss. How much money could she possibly make? Now, Jordynne Grace, who has been doing the equivalent of apartment wrestling for the last several years, doing all types of weird stuff. She was doing videos of herself being choked and body slammed in a bikini. That's the kind of degenerate stuff Jordynne Grace was doing behind a paywall, by the way, back when she was in her chubbier days. So Jordynne Grace said this on Twitter. She said two things. She says, quote, OnlyFans income for women's wrestlers has completely changed the game. For 90% of us, it will dwarf the salary that wrestling companies can offer. Then later on, when somebody says, don't you think it'll limit you? She says, it doesn't limit me. I'm wrestling on TV under contract and powerlifting while paying off my house, buying my mom a car, and working with a financial advisor to retire early. You can keep the stigma. Women are set to thrive regardless. In other words, selling pussy, even if you're not selling actual physical sex, it's profitable. It's like, well, duh. It's the world's oldest profession. It's literally the world's oldest profession. Women have been set. See, here's the thing. When people used to do this thing in the old days called apartment wrestling. Apartment wrestling was essentially porn. It was people would go out and find women. They didn't even have to be women's wrestlers. They would just be women sometimes. And they would put them up in an apartment and they would put them in seductive clothing, lingerie or whatever. And then they would practice wrestling moves, like put each other in an arm bar, but they're in lingerie. And people would take a picture of it and put it in a magazine. This is treated as something that was some type of underbelly, some kind of a disgusting thing that wrestling should have been ashamed of. And now, this was what, in the 60s, the 70s or something like that? Then in the early 2000s, it was Playboy. WWE's putting women in Playboy. Oh, that was so salacious. The lingerie pillow fights, mud wrestling. Oh, how terrible was that? All that stuff was awful. No. It was awful that those women were doing it. Now that your generation has found a way to monetize the way that they look, oh, then it's perfectly fine. It's okay. It's empowering. And of course, that's another hypocrisy to it. It's empowering as long as I do it. You know, if I'm on Raw and I'm in a t-shirt and my panties, it's a problem. Oh no, how terrible is that? But if I'm on OnlyFans, if I'm on YouTube, if I'm on Twitter, if I'm on Instagram, it's perfectly fine. Like, what kind of, and this is the kind of people you're constantly having to engage with. The people you constantly have to deal with are the apologists and the simps, just constantly trying to tell you women should not be objectified. It's like, then you should say Toni Storm is doing herself a disservice by having an OnlyFans. You would never say that because your morality is not about morality at all. You have no morals. You just have positions that shift depending on the subject. If you are against something like pornography, then you hate OnlyFans. And I had to deal with this myself, just to talk about myself a little bit. Because I am a person that sees that there is inherently a problem with selling sex and the psychological effects it has on both men and women. When conservatives go against porn, for instance, and they talk about the relationships and the unhealthy sexual relationships that people get from porn, that is true. When you look at the unhealthy obsession with their bodies that people tend to have, and they, all the young boys out there who are feeling that their dicks are never big enough because they've been watching porn, and some guy pulls a water hose out of a thong or something like that, and you're like, damn, my dick will never be that big. Young girls are the same way when they see these super thick models and these chicks who have boob jobs, and they get the wrong idea and they think that's what they have to be. So they start doing these underhanded surgeries and, butt implants and ab implants and all this other kind of stuff. I get it. I've been hearing this stuff for years. Back when rap videos actually had women in them, we used to see the video vixens, the Esther Baxters, the other chick whose name I had on the tip of my tongue, then I lost it. She was probably the most famous video vixen of all time. She was in the Knock Yourself Out Jadakiss video. If you've never seen that video, watch that video and that you will know who I'm talking about. All right. There was the conversation then. When Nelly took a credit card and slid it down the ass crack of some strippers in the video to the to the tip drill video. It was, women are being objectified. How can you do this? This stuff has been going on for a long time. This is nothing new. This is one thing that the Christians and the feminists actually agree upon. There's a subject, there's a concept. It's called Baptists and Bandits. It's when two people who don't normally get along find common ground on a subject. For instance, banning alcohol. It would be something that both bootleggers and Christians will agree with. Because bootleggers want to be able to sell alcohol, and you can sell it up at a marked up price if it's banned. And Christians want to ban alcohol because they don't believe in people should be able to drink. So you'll have these two people come together, and they'll both say, you need to ban alcohol, but it's for different reasons. What you will see often is the banning of porn for the same reason. I know I'm equating porn and OnlyFans, and people are like, you shouldn't do that. It's not the same thing. A lot of OnlyFans is porn. Even if not all of it is, a lot of it is. All right. So if you look at it from that perspective, I get it. I've been following this stuff. I study a lot of shit. I studied a lot of this stuff. There are subjects in which people who don't normally come together will come together in order to ban it. And OnlyFans, video vixens, all that kind of stuff is one such subject. So I understand why people say there is an unhealthy obsession people have with sex, and video vixens and the lingerie pillow fights and a lot of that other stuff causes a different problem. There are people right now who are probably listening to the sound of my voice who can't get over the Divas era, and they wish it would never have gone away. Me, I could take it or leave it. I've seen plenty of women in thongs and underwear. I don't need to see it in wrestling. Is it a problem that if it's on wrestling? No. Is it a problem if it's not there? Not really. No. But there's a lot of people who are like, oh God, if I could only see Shotzi in a thong on SmackDown. It's like, would it help her make more money? Absolutely. And that's my point. Is that there was a subsection of women who could make more money by doing exactly what Toni Storm is doing. But except they could do it through WWE. In fact, there was several Maurice, Chyna, Maria, Christy Hemme, Tori Wilson, Ashley Massaro, Candice Michelle, Sable. All of them did Playboy through WWE, made a grip. Made a lot of money for themselves, was able to take care of themselves. And guess what? They didn't have to go out there and get CTE. They added something to the product, and they ain't gonna have to go out there and hurt themselves. Now, I say, hey, Maurice and Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch or whomever, they can coexist. You can coexist on the roster at the same time. You can have a serious women's wrestler on the roster and a serious women's model who wants to use the company to further her profile. You can have both of those on the roster at the same time. There's nowhere you said you can't. Shawn did modeling and he was a wrestler. You can do both. It's not that big of a deal. I don't lose my mind over that. It's the feminists that are losing their minds over that. It's them who say you shouldn't have all the sexy pictures and the lingerie pillow fights and all of that stuff because it was demeaning to women. And now they're sitting back chuckling like, oh, look at all the money Toni Storm was making. It's like, duh, she's hot. Of course, there's a ton of people. Like, you didn't need to be Nostradamus to figure this out. Toni Storm is hot. If she's going to sell pictures of herself in a bikini or thongs or whatever, she's going to make some cash. All you needed to do is have a pair of fucking eyes. The simps will come find her. It was not that hard to figure out. All right. So, but here's another thing. Toni Storm used to spend a lot of time in Stardom. World Wonder Ring Stardom. And guess what the women used to do in Stardom? In order to make more money, they sold pictures. So she's just going back to her roots, if we're being honest. This is what they do in Stardom. They sell autographed pictures. Except these aren't autographed. These are online. But you never know what kind of extra stuff she is selling. She might be selling some autographed pictures for a little bit more money. She's a smart businesswoman. This is a smart business move. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good one. But she's young. She's like 20. I think she's no older than 27. So she's tight and firm too. So, she's got a couple of years before she started, getting a little crusty. So she'll be great. She'll be fine. My issue is with the simps. The simps are a huge, huge problem because the simps make it all go round. If you're a man and you are willing to spend $20 on some pictures of Toni Storm, I'm sorry, you are a fucking loser. You're a loser. I hate to, I don't want to be one of those guys who are like a PUA or something like that, who was telling you, get in the gym, go get a real girl. It's okay to, see women online and like them. See women on TV and think that they're cute or beautiful or whatever, your favorite movie star, favorite video vixen, favorite whatever. It's okay. I'm not hating you for that. But I think what you don't understand is when you're giving these broads on Twitch your money, you're trying to pay for her attention. And the worst thing about all of this, and sometimes people don't even realize this, your time is sometimes more valuable than money. All the attention that you give this woman, she doesn't know you, and she's not going to give you any of that back. You are better off investing that time and money into a woman who actually fucking likes you. And one who I don't know, might let you touch her boobs. I mean, my God, you might want to actually invest in something that could multiply in the future. Something that might actually add something to your life. This isn't me simp shaming. This is me being a financial advisor. $20 on pictures of Toni Storm. Not a good financial move. I'm not hating on Toni. I'm just telling you it's a bad idea. All right? Just like if you go out and buy a shitty car and somebody who says, hey man, I ain't hating on Ford or Chrysler. I'm just telling you it's a shitty car. You're getting a raw deal. It's a stupid deal. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's just pictures, bruh. It's just pictures. And then she controls the fucking pictures. You don't even get to take them home. So it's like, it's weird, man. Just don't do it. And I understand that a lot of these guys, they like having these parasocial relationships where they can make a woman feel good for a couple of seconds. But again, happiness is fleeting. Happiness is fleeting. That reciprocal relationship is fleeting. You give her a compliment, Toni, you're so beautiful. She's like, oh, thank you. And that's about it. That's it. You sent her some super chat money or whatever the fuck you do. She's like, oh, thank you so much. I love you guys. She's talking to everybody. She's not talking to you. She don't know who you are. She ain't never seen you before. You're nobody. You're nothing. You're a pay piggy. Don't be that. Don't belittle yourself to be a pay piggy for these broads. Don't do it. If you hate the simp economy, the best thing to do is to empower men to ask for more. Demand more for yourselves. Stop being a silly pay piggy for these broads on Twitch. All these whores on OnlyFans. Stop doing it. This is the female privilege, though. Pussy is always going to be for sale. It's the world's oldest profession. It's always going to be there to be sold. And the value, higher than you think. I think people think that the pussy stock is plummeting because, so many women are out here pregnant and, and having kids out of wedlock. It's like, nah. When you look at the statistics and you see that a lot of young men are still virgins in their 20s, or a lot of young men don't even have friends, let alone girlfriends. They don't even have a male best friend. Oh, the simp economy is running wild. Hawkamania. It's crazy. Where else are you going to find friends except online? And if you think that somebody like a Toni Storm will be your friend for 5 or 10 minutes if you send her $30 or whatever, it might be worth it. But trust me, brother, it's not. Think about how much time and effort you have to put into making that money. That's how I do things. I'm about to break it down a little bit. If I make, let's say $10 an hour, which I don't. Let's say I want to sub to Toni Storm's OnlyFans. That means I have to work 2 hours to give to Toni so that I can have access to her pictures. If I make $12 an hour, right? That's an hour and almost an hour and a half that I have to work in order to afford Toni Storm's pictures. What? Just think about that for a second. You're working an hour and a half if you make $12 an hour. An hour and a half thereabouts. And you're dedicating that hour and a half of your life to paying Toni Storm for access to her pictures. You're a fucking fool. You're a fool, man. Stop doing it. Smarten up. Stop doing it. But here's the thing. Why I say the price of pussy is never going to go down. Ronda Rousey. Way back in the Wayback Machine. This is going to be fun. Ronda Rousey was mad at Ariane Celeste. I don't know if y'all know who that is. She is the most famous ring card girl probably on planet Earth. She is a UFC ring card girl. Ronda Rousey thought she was making too much money. In fact, Ronda Rousey let it slip that Ariane Celeste was probably making more money than the fighters was. And all she did was carry cards and walk around in a circle. So this is what Ronda Rousey had to say about Ariane Celeste. I think they should get paid more than the ring girls. She's talking about the fighters. And I don't know if the ring girls get paid too much or the fighters don't get paid enough. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more in what the fighters do than what they do. So I think that one thing is unfair. Ariane Celeste, who is the most famous ring card girl probably on planet Earth, is apparently, according to the Daily Star, she is richer from having done Playboy. She is richer than Amanda Nunes, who is the most dominant female fighter probably on planet Earth. And Ariane Celeste, who did Playboy, is worth more money than her. The cost of pussy is never going to plummet. If the WNBA was full of women who people might actually want to fuck, they wouldn't be complaining about the money they make. They all just start OnlyFans accounts. The reason why wrestling women can get away with it, because a lot of them tend to be models and good-looking women who work out and that kind of stuff anyway, and they're very feminine. Unlike the WNBA, which is, a lot of, let's just say, not feminine women. Now, I'm not hating on Toni Storm. Not hating on Ariane Celeste. Not hating on anybody. Just letting people know, man, this thing is what it is. Is it the best thing for young people? Not necessarily. But nobody's being harmed in the creation of Toni Storm's OnlyFans account. A lot of people were excited about it. A lot of people wanted me to talk about it. And I'm always going to be madder at the simps than the girls. Because I understand what the girls are doing. I'm a capitalist. You make a product available, and either it goes up or it goes down, one or the other. The people who are spending the money is always going to be the problem. It's just like if you hate Walmart. You shouldn't be mad at Walmart. You should be mad at Walmart shoppers, because they're the ones who are making Walmart so much money. I hate McDonald's. We should get rid of McDonald's. Okay, well, how are you going to stop all these people who want to eat McDonald's? Because they're the ones who are making the decision. It's always going to be that. If you have a problem with Toni Storm, I didn't see her say anything about the Divas era. Did I look up in every quote that she's ever done? No. I didn't see her make any negative comments at all about the Divas era. But I know for a fact there are a lot of people out here who have done top 10 worst Diva era things, and I'm so glad the Divas era is dead, and the Divas era was terrible, and all this stuff. And now Toni Storm quit WWE, went and made an OnlyFans account. They're like, yes, Queen Slay. Like, nah, yes, Queen Slay. She could have done this from the fucking beginning. Toni Storm could have done this before coming to WWE. And she probably wouldn't have made as much money. But she still would have been a star. Alicia Atout has an OnlyFans account. She works in MLW. Chelsea Green, I believe, has one too. I think Cassie Lee of the Iconics, I think they both do have OnlyFans accounts. OnlyFans is not the issue here, man. Toni Storm is, people are like, oh, Toni Storm this, Toni, like, man, this OnlyFans hustle is bigger than Toni. She's, found a lot of success very quickly. But I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on some of the other dirty, grungy stuff that's been going on. The Mia Yim, for instance, she did the lingerie wrestling thing. Nobody ever talks about that. But I remember going to the website one time and looking up the wrestlers, and I saw Mia Yim on that roster. I was like, oh, very interesting. What do they do in lingerie wrestling? They do basically the Divas era stuff. I was like, hey, people will pay for it, man. It is what it is. I just want everybody to have access to it. Why would we shaming Sable or Sunny or Tori or Kelly for being hot? Why are we shaming Ashley Massaro when she was alive, or Caitlyn for being hot and not being able to wrestle or whatever the fuck? Who cares? They were good models and people wanted to see them, and they was really being over. Christy Hemme used to be over because she was a hot model and everybody wanted to see her. Guess what? It's a room in wrestling for hot models. It's room in wrestling for it all, but we got fucking caught up with these hypocrites. And now these chicks are putting this shit behind a paywall. You don't get it. Just think of how fun it was when you could turn on Raw and see a woman in a bikini. It was fun. That was the good thing about it. Now they want you to pay $20 fucking for it. Are you serious? No, I'm not paying any extra money to see no broad in her panties. Are you serious? No. Why would I do that? Why would anybody do that? I don't know. But I'm rambling enough. Like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Toni Storm, much success to her. And everybody who's listening, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I know we constantly have conversations about the Divas era and whether they should come back or what they should do about it. Look, I'm under no idea that the Divas era is going to come back. People have created this false dichotomy where it's either you gotta have the models or you gotta have the wrestlers. They don't understand that you can have both, that you can do both, that women can do both, and that the fear is that is what Ronda Rousey was talking about. That if you have a Christy Hemme or a Maria Kanellis back when she was young and hot, if you have them on the roster, they will likely get paid more to just stand around and take pictures than the women who go in the ring and take bumps. And that was really the case in the first place. You know, the Medusas and the Ivories, they were never worth as much as the Sables and the Sunnies. I mean, it was what it was. If you look at the amount of attention they bring, and people buying their products, you know, people buying Divas calendars and Divas DVDs and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was hand over fist when it comes to the money. And that's the fear that people have, is that if these women exist on the same roster with the women's wrestlers, they'll be more popular. They make more money. They be the bigger stars. They overshadow the women's wrestlers. And I'm telling you right now, Toni fans, I keep saying Toni fans and these different, I'm not editing it out this time. Toni Storm and her OnlyFans account has eclipsed a lot of what she has done as a wrestler. I mean, it's just a phenomenal success in just one day. But that's because people would rather see her naked than see her wrestle. That's why she's worth more on OnlyFans. And to be quite honest, that's why Jordynne Grace can be like, oh, OnlyFans, yeah, the income I'll get from that will trump whatever a wrestling company would pay me. It's like, yeah, because people would rather see you naked. Or, you know, when, yes, Jordynne Grace has put out pictures of herself covered in icing. I'm talking nipples, pussy, everything just covered in birthday icing, birthday cake or whatever. Just completely sexy as fuck. Yeah, people would rather see that than watch you wrestle. You know, I'm pretty sure you made more money off that than whatever the fuck you've been doing on Impact. Yeah. That should be a surprise to no one. It's not a surprise to me. Because I understand simps. The simp economy is always booming. It's the world's oldest profession. You just gotta have confidence to do it. But let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe, man. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these